beautiful souls. Welcome back to this magical channel. My name is Eva, and the topic that I want to bring up is emotional alchemy. So this is one of my magical offerings, and I am basically going to give it all to you, all of the tips and tricks and techniques, and deep dive on this right here, right now, because this practice has changed my life, and I want to share resources with you that can support you in empowering yourself and in your life and living your most magical, intentional, delicious life. So emotion alchemy essentially is releasing stuck emotions. So when we experience an emotion, a lot of times the emotions only act, like if we let emotions process through our body, if we allow ourselves to actually feel them in the moment, it only takes 90 seconds. That's a minute and a half. So if we felt all our emotions, then they wouldn't get stuck in this way. But what can happen is we feel like we don't have time, or we have learned to suppress, or we can even have fear toward feeling a certain emotion. So when we experience that, then we basically stop the emotion from completing its cycle, and then it gets stuck. And so this process is all about releasing that. It's kind of like clearing the slate, and it supports us in when we feel really charged about something, when we feel when there's a real intense activation and charge emotionally, we can create lots of stories around it. And then the stories are actually what we continue to spin in. And anytime something triggers the memory of that, then it's like, oh yeah, like we bring up the story. But the emotion itself is not what, like, it seems like we're experiencing that emotion and we can like bring it up ourselves. But what's fascinating is that it's actually the story that we keep on bringing up to the surface. And our body is so amazing and so supportive in this process. We can literally release this stuff through our body somatically so that it's not holding us back, because a lot of times it is actually like what can be like what can kind of be like subtly there, but we're not really like aware, or it's not something that we're really like taught to do or taught about much. And so yeah, this is the practice. So in order to do this, you just need a comfy space, you need some time to yourself, and you can grab a journal if writing is something that feels really resonating for you and good to do. I personally do enjoy writing it all out. So the way that I usually do this practice is I'll sit with my journal and I'll write down all the things that are bothering me, the things that feel really sticky in my life, the things that I feel like I have resistance, the things that I'm fearful of. And the reason why is because emotions hold a certain frequency, and when we hold on to those emotions for that long, then it like kind of like becomes our frequency. Like we vibrate at that frequency level, and so emotions that have lower frequencies are like fear and shame and guilt. If you Google the emotion frequency scale, I think it is the wording, If you Google that, and you can look it up and you can see where all the emotions lie on this scale. And up at the top is like joy and love and freedom, like, you know, all of those lighter ones, they are a higher vibration. I like to also explain this and say that humans are like crystals. If you know how crystals work, crystals have a certain frequency that they are vibrating at. And the way that crystals support us is because when we're around them, we attune to their frequency. So that's how they can support us in healing, because they're actually supporting us in elevating our frequency to the one that they have. And so, yeah, so we're like crystals with legs walking around and doing frequencies. So I like to write down the list of all the stuff that's been on my mind, that my mind has been overthinking, all the things that I have been contemplating, all the things that have been bothering me, the things that I'm fearful of, and just write down the whole list. And sometimes this can take a few hours to move through this and do it, but I promise after doing this, you feel so much better. Releasing all this, because there's no reason in us holding on to it. It literally is like every emotion that we don't release that gets stuck, it's almost like carrying a bag of bricks with us. And then that backpack just gets heavier and heavier the more we pile in there. But this process is like removing the bricks one by one and lightening up the bag so that we can feel clear and neutral and release that. So yeah, like, and you can really do this on any topic, like truly any topic. You can do this about your relationships. You can do this releasing around your business. You can do it about your body if there's body parts that you notice you judge a lot, or have like criticism or resistance to. You can literally release, like, do this process for all of that. I have even done this for having resistance to doing this practice. So, like, this emotion alchemy practice, I literally had resistance to doing it because I got to a point where I was doing it so much and I started feeling like, oh my gosh, this is never ending. And I feel like I'm in this like endless healing hamster wheel. And I felt this way before too with other modalities, so it's not the first time. But then someone had suggested, oh, just do the release on having resistance toward doing the process. And it really honestly does wonders. So after you get clear on what you want to release, or if you want to just kind of in your mind like go one by one and just bring up what it is that you are feeling, ask yourself where in your body it is. And when you first start off doing this, also there may be some questions about, is this really here? Am I really feeling the right thing? You just want to notice like sensations, or even where where your attention is being drawn to in your body. Maybe you'll get a visual, maybe you'll hear something. We connect all in different ways. And so the biggest thing is just start playing with this and just trust yourself. Trust that you know. Trust that what you're receiving is correct. So once you have identified the location, you want to ask, how big is it? And does it have a texture, or what kind of shape is it? And this, I feel like this is twofold. It helps the mind to kind of grasp like, okay, there, that it kind of gives like a little bit more like tangible makes it more tangible for the mind to kind of get on board with like, oh, okay, like there it is, and like really clear. And then the second thing is the mind can tell us the stories about this stuff, but it can't actually identify where it is in the body. That's why it doesn't clear it. And that's why we have to do it this way. Or, I mean, there's probably other ways to do stuff like this, but this is the approach that I've learned, and this is the one I'm sharing with you. And of course, if it resonates, feel free to play and try this and let me know how it goes. But yeah, so we want to identify. So again, we're going to set up our space. We're going to have some time to ourselves. We're going to either write down what we're going to go through and what we want to bring up and feel into our bodies. You can also ask yourself, what emotion am I feeling about this? And then ask, where do I feel that emotion? And then from here, this is where our intuitive guidance can really kick in. There's infinite ways to release this. Some ways that I've explored are, you can talk directly to this part. Let's give an example. So let's say I'm feeling frustration with someone for not calling me back. So I sit here and I ask, okay, where in my body is this frustration? And I'm immediately drawn to the top of my chest here. And so then from here, there's, like I said, multiple different approaches we can take. I'm going to show you just the basic, and then I can share some other approaches if you want to play and explore. So our breath is so amazing and so powerful. And I didn't realize how powerful it is until I started doing this practice. So once I've identified where it is in my body, I'm going to breathe into it, and all I need to do is just focus on that spot and just breathe into it. And you can put your hand on the spot if that helps, bringing more awareness and focus to it. And then I like to ask myself if that is cleared, and I'm getting a yes. So then that one is cleared. And the way to test this and make sure that it is cleared is by bringing up that same situation. Okay, someone didn't call me back. And then just notice how you feel. So now, with this, I will say there may be multiple emotions and energies stuck around one situation. So you'll want to do this with each one. And if you feel multiple spots, you can put your awareness on all of them at the same time. You can do one by one. Go with however you feel and just play with it and just notice how it feels. But the true amazing thing about this practice is that when you first start, all the things that you are feeling toward the situation, toward the person, toward yourself, it's a complete shift. Like, this is true alchemy. It's a complete shift from where you started, and then after doing this, to how you feel. When you bring up those situations, when you bring up the person, when you bring up the thing you were judging yourself for, you will feel, I mean, you can feel multiple things, but a lot of times neutral, clear, peaceful, calm. Like, it just releases the charge. And like I said, we don't have to be walking around with all of this stuff in our bag. This is a big part of energy hygiene for me. And it's very effective, and I love it. So I'm here sharing it with you all. Some other ways, if you want to play and explore, if the breath doesn't work, you can play with the different elements. So breath is air, but you can start to envision that area being burned by a fire and using the fire element. It can be washed away, or frozen and thrown out of your body, or you can use the earth and send it down to Mama Gaia and ask her to transmute it for you, and support you in that releasing process. So that's working with elements. You can work with spirit, your spirit guides. You can call in whatever spirit guide you want for this process, and then you can ask them to take it from you and transmute it. You can talk to it directly. You can ask it what it needs from you, if it wants to, what its role is in your life, why it's here, when it came into your life. You can ask it if it wants to shift to a different role. That's like one of my, like, another really effective method is talking to, like, parts of ourselves or energy within us and getting clear on, like, where it's coming from, which we don't always have to go to the origin of things to clear them. Sometimes we can just clear them without exploring deeper. But yeah, so there's different approaches to take with this. You can just, it really is like, this is the invitation to use our imagination. The imagination is something that we all had as kids, and somehow it gets lost and forgotten as we grow up. Almost like we're told that because you have the title adult, you're not allowed to imagine anymore. And the imagination is literally the doorway to our future. What we imagine in our heads are the signals we're giving to our mind of what we're desiring. And the more we focus on the things we actually desire over the things we don't, then we go in that direction, because our mind will actually look for ways to help us get there and support us. But that's a different conversation for another day. So play with this emotion alchemy. After doing this, drink lots of water, because when you're moving all this energy, it's really important to make sure to drink water, not only to hydrate and stay vital and make sure you're giving your body what it needs hydration wise, but also because when we move a lot of energy, then the water also kind of helps with, like, that that cleansing process. So drink lots of water after doing this, especially if you have big releases. And your body may release in different ways. You may cry, you may burp, you may scream, you may shake. Just really allow. That's why it's so important to have the space and the time for yourself to do this, because you want to be comfortable to release in whatever way you need to, whatever way you feel. And this is part of connecting deeper to our bodies, our amazing vessels here that we have, our temples that house our souls, and that we're over here on this human experience and journey. And I think that wraps this one up. So go ahead and comment, subscribe, and share for more explorations on self, inner empowerment, and healing, mysticism, and the magical realms. Also, we'll be exploring soulpreneurship and just navigating this human experience and embracing it. And until next time, sending you so much love, and let me know how this practice goes. If you have anything you want to share about it, or any other techniques or tips and tricks, let's share with one another, and let's support one another and celebrate each other, because I really do believe that we rise together and we rise in unity, and it's so much more powerful than doing it alone. So sending you all blessings and